And hello everyone, this is it. I'm your host, Get Good Fox, and this is the final episode of Hyper Community World Tour. I know it's been a long journey. Today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be talking about the Trumbull Valley map in general, what I think about it, and what my recommendations are. And right off the bat, now that we've reviewed all of the everything, I'm going to say that this is probably the second best map in the game. It does have some room to make arguments to be the best map, but it does have pretty stiff competition from Mayor Valley. But what I'm going to say right off the bat, once again, is that this is either the best map or the second best map. It might be up to a bit of personal opinion there, but regardless of which map you choose, you're going to be either in the best or the second best, and that is going to be really good. And let's talk about what makes Trumbull Valley such a great map to play on. And the first point is going to be about the terrain. The terrain in Trumbull Valley is almost perfect. And that's because most of it is really flat. All of this area in here, very flat. Yeah, there's a few ridges here and there. There's a few rocks. Like, even the swamp area isn't that hard to drive around in. But the other thing, though, you got this area. Marshall is a nightmare to drive around in. And then this area here, this little road, including Marshall, there are a lot of, like, shrubberies on the ground. There's a lot of, like, just things that are gonna, like, you see these shrubs? Some of them are gonna be growing onto the road, and they can absolutely conceal bloaters. So it's a great map, but it's not perfect. Like, you could have a bloater laying down in one of those bushes, which might be just enough concealment, just enough to prevent you from noticing a bloater, and then you smash it right over. But otherwise, it's just absolutely a fantastic place to drive around in. It's so low stress. It's awesome. Now, the second one is going to be about the looting. So the looting, once again, is great, but it's not perfect. So what stinks about it is Checkpoint Delta. This is the starting area. Notice there's so few buildings. Even though these aren't revealed, so few buildings in the starting area. And what that means is you are going to quickly run out of supplies, and you're going to go farther and farther away. Remember, on Lethal Zone, a lot of this is going to be pre-looted as well. And what it's going to do is force you to move into, like, this area over here, the fairgrounds, or you're going to be pressured into moving into Marshall. Or, I mean, maybe a better idea would be to kind of move into this area, just kind of go through the easy-to-drive areas to loot. But, yeah, so it has its ups and it has its downs. Now, what's a big up? Look at the density in these areas. If you make an outpost, and this is Spencer's Mill right here, look at all these buildings all clustered together. What about this area? Look at all these buildings clustered together. So the looting is really awesome once you get out of Checkpoint Delta. And then over here, so I was talking about high-density looting, basically, like high density in the fairgrounds and in Spencer's Mill. Look at the density. Look at how many buildings are clustered together for you to loot. You don't have to travel very far. So yeah, it does kind of clash with the idea that not Fort Marshall, but the downtown Marshall area is really annoying to loot to begin with. But it's like, it's like I said, the map has some upsides and it has some downsides. For everything that, I would say for everything that is good, no, not even that. For every 5 things that are good, yeah, maybe it has one thing that is a disadvantage, but it's overall just an absolutely fantastic map. And like I said, the looting is great. Now it looks like we've got some stuff along the way that's going to try to interfere with us. We're going to try to, like, clean up these infestations while we were here. It looks like that might take a little bit of doing, but it'll be okay. We're going to get the job done. So the looting, there's some upsides, there's some downsides, but overall, I think it's absolutely fantastic. So in addition to that, let's talk about the unique features of Trumbull Valley, because one thing that's different about Trumbull Valley is that, yeah, it's got some unique things that other maps don't have, and that's because, remember, Trumbull Valley is not one of the original maps in the game. Indeed, it actually is a DLC map, And so because it's a DLC map, Undead Labs spent some time trying to make it a little more unique. And I would say they definitely succeeded. So something that's really awesome about Trumbull Valley is that you are going to have access to all of the questing experience of Trumbull Valley. Why is that relevant? Well, it means more money. More money is awesome. More quests are great. You could just do quests. They're higher density. And that means that, yeah, sure, maybe the looting in the beginning is a little bit annoying, no doubt about it, but you're going to get more quests. Remember, quests are worth money. Money is going to get you stuff that you can buy, and you're going to get these unique enclaves that are character-based enclaves, like there's a Ray Santos enclave, a Mickey Wilkerson enclave. There's going to be a Tressie Huerta enclave, and all of them are going to sell pretty good stuff. Some of them have more money to play with, so they actually become basically better customers to sell to and to buy from. And that's going to make your process of getting loot, getting money, even easier. In addition to there being unique items. What are some unique features that you can get? Well, you can get the Haven device. The Haven device comes from, the Clio quest line, gets you, a one-of-a-kind large facility that you have to complete the quest for. Another thing you can get is the Trumbull Grow Chem, which is a mod that you can plug into your farming type facilities, any farming facility, and it gives you 100% more production. And all you got to do is pay a little bit of plague samples, hardly anything. It's actually really insane. So it is the best mod that you can get for growing as much crops as possible. It's absolutely awesome. So that's the big advantage. And like I said, it's also a unique experience. So you're not going to get that experience anywhere else. It's one of the things that really makes Trumbull Valley at least worth one time. I always tell people, ask me, should I go to Trumbull Valley? And I would say at least once. Yes, it's a great map. I would definitely go there, but at least once. If you don't like Trumbull Valley, at least visit it once to see some of the unique experiences there. But another unique thing is the Isby and Chavez quest line, where you can freeze the quest line, as in you don't progress it any farther when you get them both. And what happens is you can actually get immortal followers. They can't die because they're too important to the story. They can't die. They can damage, though, and they can fight the enemies, and you can actually have them tag along with you, and it actually makes clearing the game so much easier because they will distract the zombies off of you. It makes a huge, huge difference, even on Lethal Zone. Not even Lethal Zone is going to be able to stand up to these immortal followers. It makes such a massive difference, and it actually can make Trumbull Valley one of the best maps, possibly even the best map to farm Lethal Zone boons. Now, there are some exceptions, and I will include the exceptions, though. Anyways, let's move on to the landmark. And right off the bat, I'm going to tell you, Echo Labs is one of the best landmarks, maybe the best landmark. You're probably seeing this this trend here, that this is either the best map, and if it's not the best map, it's very competitive, and the landmark is exactly the same. It is extremely strong, and if it's not the best landmark, then it's very much competing for it. And that's because you either A, get access to advanced biochems, and that if you don't have biochem access, then yeah, it's the best landmark in the game, because biochems will win Lethal Zone for you, single-handedly. Biochems will own Lethal Zone. I'm gonna tell you right now. If you want to smash Lethal Zone, you want those biochems. Now, if you already have biochems, okay, sure, then the outpost does lose some of its power, but you still get the serums. The serums give you more health or more stamina at the cost of some blood plague infection, but it's not that bad. It's 5%. It's really not that bad, and you can either get more health or more stamina, or you can grow more plague samples. And once again, if you've got access to biochems, well, you're gonna need plague samples. And so it lets you fuel those biochems up which is absolutely fantastic. And so whether or not you have it, there's a really good chance that it's either going to be the best landmark or the second best landmark. It's actually so good that I recommend getting the landmark before you claim your base, your first real base, because it'll help you clear the bases. Speaking of bases, though, let's talk about the bases. So the bases on this map are really interesting because it simultaneously has some of the best bases in the game and some of the worst bases in the game, which is pretty unique. But that said, all of the bases are either good or unique. Now, the downside is you do start in Checkpoint Delta on a typical playthrough. That is one of the worst bases in the game. It's definitely the worst early game base in the game. And that's because you only get 2 small facilities, which is a little bit rough to deal with because this is what you really wish you could get 3. Because then what you could do is you could have an infirmary, a workshop, and then, any one of your choosing. You grow food if you need food, a latrine if you need morale. Or what I would do is build a gym to give you a little bit more health, a little bit of a safety net on lethal zone because you don't have a lot of health, and even one bite from a zombie is the devastating amounts of damage that you're going to take. And the thing is, no matter how good you are at lethal zone, eventually the game is going to ambush you. You're going to get ambushed by enemies that you're not ready for, and people will tell you how good stamina is. Let me tell you, your stamina doesn't mean anything when the game kind of flips out on you and you just get ambushed, and all that matters is, do you have enough health to survive the ambush or not? And you also have another really bad base. You've got the Red Talon FOB. It at least is unique. It's not a very good base. It does have some uses, such as you could use it to farm some Clio stuff. It's very unique. It's probably worth checking out, especially if you've never used the Red Talon facility stuff. But it's not a good base in the slightest. It's more of a curiosity, and that's why it's worth. I would say absolutely worth checking out at least once. Just not a base I would recommend staying in. It's just interesting. And then you also have Fort Marshall. Fort Marshall, it might as well be called Fort Delta because it is the worst, quote-unquote endgame base in the game. It is absolutely dreadful. And that's because it is essentially a mid-game base that has the price tag of a more endgame base. So if it were a smaller base that costs like 1,000 influence to get into and only like 4 to 5 people to get into, it wouldn't be too bad, but it's not. It's masquerading around as a larger base, and that's why it's just dreadful. But on the other hand, you got the Pterodactyl Park, great base, definitely recommend it. Awesome first base to move into out of Checkpoint Delta, and then you also get Tranquility Factory. Tranquility Factory, a great alternative. Like if you want something with a bit more power, a bit more packs a little more heat, then absolutely Tranquility Factory, another fantastic choice. And then you have the Farmland Compound. Farmland Compound, second base in the game, would be the best base in the game if not for the fact that Whitney Field is so strong. And maybe if they nerf Whitney Field, it will become the best base in the game. So, let me wrap things up. Now we talked about it. What are my recommendations for Trumbull Valley? This is what I would say. I think Trumbull Valley is the best map in the game for clearing out boons. Especially if you are not importing stuff, if you're not bringing stuff over, because you get guaranteed access to biochems. And remember, they did make biochems harder to get. Biochems are not as easy to acquire as they were in the past. However, this is the disclaimer, you have to be able to handle the early game. If you cannot handle Checkpoint Delta, then you're not going to survive. It's not going to matter. I could give you some tips on how to do it, though. So the way you handle Checkpoint Delta is like this. You play, you loot carefully, you grow slowly. Like, don't just recruit everyone. What you need to do is, set up the pins and knock them down. You ever heard that, saying? So what you do is you grow slowly, build up some friends, get people ready to be recruited, but don't recruit them yet. You're going to set them up and knock them down. So get 1 or 2 people ready to be recruited so that you're either going to move into the 4-man Pterodactyl Park or you're going to move into the 5-man Tranquility Factory. Then what you do is you're going to have to clear some plague guards. I actually recommend clearing the, Echo Labs first. Because clear the Echo Labs, get access to bloater gas and scent block. That'll let you clear all of the other plague guards off the map. So after you do that, you got two communities ready to be recruited, and you've got the tools. You've got Echo Labs. Clear out the plague hearts of the base of your choosing, then bam, you've got morale. Killing plague guards gives you morale. Recruit the 2 people or the 1 person you need, then bam, move into the base of your choosing. That's how you set up the pins and you knock them down, and that's how you carefully and with a calculating strategy, get out of checkpoint Delta on the lethal zone. On a lower difficulty, probably won't matter as much. Once you do that, progress the Chavez and Isby quest until you get to the part where you get them both. See, this is this dangerous area I'm talking about. See these shrubberies? You could definitely hit a bloater on accident. It's definitely a realistic threat. But yes, progress the story with Isby and Chavez until you get to the part where they are both following you. Do not collect the item drops. Ignore the item drops. They will follow you anywhere. And now you have the secret weapon with the strongest mid-game of any map in the game. You've got biochems and 2 immortal followers. You will absolutely trample, absolutely turn the lethal zone upside down. You will be able to kill all, with a bit of practice, you'll be able to kill all 30 plague guards in 1 game session, in maybe an hour, maybe even less, once you get the hang of it. You will absolutely crush this difficulty with Immortal Isby and Chavez simultaneously, as well as access to biochems, because remember, although the biochems may seem a little expensive, the plague guards are going to give you the supplies. They are going to give you fuel. They're going to give you medicine and more plague samples, everything you need to make more to kill all of the plague guards, and you'll be surprised. But like I said, it does come with the disclaimer that it will be a very, very rough early game. To wrap things up, I do want to offer my suggestions for base progression. Start in Checkpoint Delta, go into the Pterodactyl Park, then right into the Farmland Compound, or start in Checkpoint Delta, go into Tranquility Factory, and then into the Farmland Compound. Great system of progression, great way to dominate the map, and perhaps most importantly, I want to thank everyone for this incredible journey, almost 150 episodes, in order to do these casual reviews, not as serious, just kind of talking about it. And I hope you guys learned a lot. I learned a lot. I refreshed my knowledge on a lot of things, and it's been a great journey. But it doesn't end here. I've got more content coming out. We got more stuff to do in State of Decay. I know you guys want even more detailed base guides that show the builds and everything, and are more to the point in a shorter amount of time, so you don't have to watch like a 20 to 30 minute episode. And I've got it coming your way. There's more stuff to come. You guys, you've been a great audience. It's been a pleasure to play through all of these bases and talk about them. There are so many of you who are learning to defeat Lethal Zone through the first time through watching the Get Good Fox channel. But at the end of the day, remember, the victory is yours. You're the one who crushed the plague guards. You're the one who found the supplies. The boons, the victory are yours. All I can do is give you a few pointers along the way. Anyways, that's the end of the playthrough. If you want more State of Decay content, don't forget, I also play on Twitch. It's a great free way to support the Fox Republic while finding even more content for yourself. If you don't like Twitch, I do have a VODs channel. It's called Get Good Fox VODs. Check in the description, check in the comments. There is a link there, or ask me directly. You can just leave a comment. I will tell you where it is. All of the Twitch VODs are uploaded there. Don't worry, we got more content coming out. There's going to be guides. There's going to be discussions. There will be more gameplay as well. And I would love all you guys to be a part of it. We'll be playing different games. We'll be playing more State of Decay 2 as well. And we're going to be growing this channel only bigger. And I'd love for you guys to be a part of it. Anyways, once again, thank you for being such a great audience. And I'll see you guys next time. Help me out by liking the video and subscribing. Does a big job in the algorithm. and I'll see you guys for more State of Decay content. Remember at the end of the day, though, that you don't have to be good to get good.